Hey guys, Sharpend here. In this video I'm going to show you how to make a funky lead using Formant. It sounds something like this. In addition to that, I'm also going to show you how you can use external effects to turn that lead into a more aggressive EDM type drop lead. It sounds something like this. So recently I've received a few requests to do a tutorial in Formant, so I've downloaded the trial version and here we are. So in today's video we're going to be making a nice funky lead using Formant. So the first thing you want to do is to open up the Wavetable generator, and you want to go to the vocals folder and go with Newspeak. You can choose pretty much anything on the vocals folder since it's all very Formant wavetables that shift through different formats as you go through the different wavetable positions. So this one sounds like this. And in order to create the random element in our lead, we're going to be using the random LFO. We're going to tell it to modulate the wavetable position, so it goes from 1 to all the way up to 256. So one thing to notice is that right now the LFO is bipolar, meaning that it goes from 0 to 1, but it also goes from 0 to -1. So right now in our modulation we go from 0 to 1, but if you were to go from 0 to -1, it wouldn't change anything since there's no negative wavetable position. So we're going to change it to be unipolar so that it always modulates through the wavetable position and doesn't stay at 1, for example, in case you're hitting 0 or -1 values, which are the same thing. So right now it sounds like this. And the way that this thing works is that it every time you play a different note, it plays a different value. But at the same time, it also goes through different values all of the time. You see right here that the values change. And this rate controls it. So if you go with fast rates, you get with really fast modulation. And what we want to do is to set the rate to be really low so that you get some additional modulation, but it's going to be pretty slow and you need to really hold the note to hear it. So a short note won't produce it, but if you play long enough notes, you're going to hear it. Now in order to add some more funkiness to your lead, you want to add a Formant filter, and you want to make sure that the lows and the highs aren't being passed through it. So only the frequencies that go through the Formant filter are coming out of it. And then you want to add another random, and this time you want to keep it to be bipolar. I'm going to use it to modulate the Formant. So I'm going to use it to modulate both this and this. And we're going to increase the Q, which is going to increase how much Formant shaping we're getting. So I'm also going to reduce the rate by a tiny bit. And now I'm going to add an EQ to reintroduce some of the low frequencies that we lost and some of the high frequencies that we lost. I'm going to add a compressor and I'm going to set the threshold to be really low, but I'm going to increase the makeup to 100%. So that way what happens is that even notes that would be low in volume are getting boosted so that all of the notes should sound at high volume. And as you can see, most of the notes have a very similar volume level, but as you can hear, it's clipping right now. So in order to solve that, I'm going to go ahead and add a limiter, and it's set to 0 dB so that it won't clip at all. Like this. So one more thing that you can add is an LFO. You need to set it at around like 5 Hz or 6 Hz, and then you can use it to modulate the master pitch by a tiny bit, like plus 0.6, and that way you get a nice vibrato effect. But right now it's too extreme, so what I'm going to do is to just reduce the amount of modulation that's happening, like at 30%. So you just get a very nice vibrato effect, but it's not too extreme. So one more thing that you can play with if you want to is to set the smooth to 100% on both of the random LFOs. Basically, what this does is it makes the different positions that the LFO is going through to not be subtle, to go from one place to the other, like you see here. It goes from one place to the other at like an instant. So if you set it to smooth, it's going to glide its way through. So it's always going to change, but it's going to change way more subtle. And it always does that, so that creates a more moving effect in your lead. Like, let me play a long note with it. As you can hear, it's constantly changing its formant, and if you set the smooth to 0, it's going to change its formant through clicks that happen instantly. Like this. So it's up to you to choose which version you prefer. And then let's go to the mixer, where I've added some external effects. So because of the formant filter, we're losing a lot of low end and high end, so you can solve that by adding a lot of OTT. So I have it on 100% def. I have the input gain pretty low and the output gain to be pretty high. And I've just duplicated it twice. It sounds like this. So this version is a bit better if you're looking for more EDM sounds that sound big while still using this random lead. And then I've added some room reverb with a low mix. And an EQ to just cut out the very low frequencies that are in plain notes that ODT introduces, because it compresses upwards all of the frequencies, so it's going to compress also very low just noise frequencies that we don't need. So that's why it's there. So altogether you get this sound without the effects, which is a lot more gentle and for softer music. And if you're looking for more EDM type music, then just add a lot of ODT and it will sound something like this. And that is pretty much it. If you found this tutorial helpful, make sure to give it a thumbs up and let me know in the comments below what subject you want me to cover up next time.